Hello folks, this is a view of course of one of our favorite galaxies of the mid fall, NGC 7331. I'm just doing a quick view at 7:06. It's 1 hour post sunset. I have some high articulated clouds that I've seen in the afternoon. I'm seeing some to the south, over the mountains to the south, the peaks to the south and the crests. Those are probably just hanging out there because it happens to be colder there. Hopefully we will not get them too much into the sky's middle third. And tonight we're going to be tracking the NGC, I'm having some trouble with my mouth, 70, I believe it's going to be a 7500 to 7600 series this tonight. It's very easy to get them confused. I do believe I covered 74 to 75. Maybe it is 75 to 76. I will have to follow up on that in a few minutes. That will be the 7500 to 7599 series this evening. That's actually a pretty nice view. We haven't even achieved sky dark yet. I'm still seeing a bit of color in the sky of NGC 7331. 10-second exposure, that's what I'll be working throughout the evening with, unless we come across something of a special interest. All right. Okay, we're having at first a 60x view of 7500. We're going to hop up to 90, 30% E-zoom. NGC 7500. Poking it in now, probably should have done it before, but I had to shift myself out of the observatory because it was causing stars to deflect and elongate. All right, let's see. It takes a while for it to search out the database in the Gemini 2, but 7500 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 13.3, fairly large, 2.1 by 1.1 arc minute, very distant. It's a lenticular spiral, 474 million light years distant. Puts this sweetie about 310,000 light years in diameter, more than twice the great Andromeda galaxy, and it is a lenticular, which means there's a lot of stars, potentially several trillion stars in this particular galaxy. Wow, NGC 7500. Okay, here we're having a look 60 to 90x view of NGC 7505. We got to elongate stars. I'm going to reinitialize the stack. NGC 7505 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.6 and just classified as spiral. This is looking a little bright for 15.6. So as a spiral, it's probably something more along the line of, it is an edge-on spiral, 305 million light years distant, puts it at about 80,000 light years in diameter. As a spiral, looking as bright as that, is going to be probably an SB or an SA. Its actual visual magnitude is probably around 14.9. Steve Gottlieb could help out with that with adventuresindeepspace.com. I wanted to go to 7507. It's a nice, bright, largish galaxy, and I believe it was in Scutum. I have to check that out. But anyway, NGC 7508, and of course, the galaxy was behind an apple tree, so I trimmed it back as much as I can. So we'll have to go on from there. These particular studies are probably about an hour and a half from culminating anyway. NGC 7508 is a galaxy in Pegasus. Once again, a faint galaxy, magnitude 15.7, spiral once again, but this one's 536 million light years distant, probably has a size of about 170,000 light years. It's 1 by 0.3, so if we get any sense of edgy on with this, I will be very impressed. 10-second exposures, roughly 35, 36-inch eyepiece aperture equivalent. We're at right ascension 231149 with a declination of plus 12 degrees, 56 minutes, and 24 seconds. Okay, I just bumped up the magnification on 7508. Have a look around, see if we can turn something up. While I go ahead and see what I'm going to do next. There's a 15th magnitude Galaxy 09 in Pegasus, a open cluster in Cepheus too far north. 7511 is a 13.8. We'll go on. 7512 is 12.6 magnitude elliptical. All right, we'll push on from that. Now another one in deep south in SCL. It's magnitude 11.4. Would love to see that, but too far south. 7514 is a 12.5 in Pegasus, pretty far north. We should get a good view of that. And we're getting a nice view at low power, 60x of NGC 7514. Boosting to 90x, which gives the best balance of image quality and detail in galaxies, generally speaking. 7514's magnitude 12.5, 1.4 by 0.9 arc minutes, a spiral with a lowercase bc, 222 million light years distant. Means it's on the midline of the Hubbard-Divalculaire's morphological charts, neither a capital A or a capital B. 222 million light years distant puts it about 100,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 23, 12, 25 with a declination of plus 34 degrees, 52 minutes, 52 seconds. I kind of like the idea of allowing it to sit on the screen. And I'll tell you about 15's a Galaxy in Pegasus. That's also a 12.4, but less interesting. 16's another Galaxy in Pegasus. It's a lenticular pretty much face on to look like a globular cluster. 7517's a Galaxy in Pisces, pretty close to the ecliptic, magnitude 14.4, but quite small. 7518 is a Galaxy in Pisces. Well, let's not go there. Let's see, magnitude 15.2. Wow, very large for magnitude 15.2 and distant 1.3 by 1.1 arc minutes. NGC7500 in Pegasus. Okay, here's our 90x view of NGC7500, a Galaxy in Pegasus. Magnitude 15.2, and the reason I selected it is very large for a magnitude 15.2, 1.3 by 1.1 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase b in the middle of the tuning fork, 474 million light years distant. This is probably about a 14.5 magnitude galaxy, 474 million light years distant, makes it about 180,000 light years in diameter. That's got a bit of a starry core to it. So yeah, it's definitely B class. RA 23, 13, 11, declination plus 10, 46, 18. Continue to watch this one, get some more layers on it. I'm going to continue skipping through, telling you what I'm seeing. 20 is a Galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 15.1, also quite large, 2-to-1 aspect ratio. 21 is a magnitude 13.9, quite small, lenticular in Pisces. 22 is a star in Aquarius. About 20% of the catalog are erroneous entries, due to on-the-limit double stars typically. 7523 is a Galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude, it's 15.7, 1 by 0.2 arc minutes, A, edge-on spiral. Here we should be seeing that faint edge-on spiral. NGC 7523, Galaxy Pegasus, magnitude 15.7, 5-to-1 aspect ratio, 1 by 0.2 arc minutes, simply listed as a spiral, 535 million light years distant. Boy, we're getting some out there's, although I've got them as far as 1 billion light years distant. It's a right ascension 23, 13, 34, declination plus 13, 59, 10. It's probably got an actual magnitude of visual of somewhere around, maybe we'll call it 14.9, since it's not completely classified in detail. Okay, I haven't really had to play with the histogram very much since the beginning, and that usually is a good sign to the sky. You're seeing a galaxy on the screen, a little bit above the center. That galaxy is probably NGC 7529 in Pegasus. It's magnitude 14.1, 0.9 by 0.8 arc minutes. It's a spiral with a bar and a lowercase c and a ring So it has wraparound spiral arms. As a BC, it's probably about 0.7 magnitudes brighter. So this was probably around a 13.5 estimated. Have to check Steve Gottlieb for visuals on that. RA 231403, declination plus 8 degrees, 59 minutes, 31 seconds. Let's do that Skippy Loo stuff again. 30 is a galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 15. 32 is a galaxy in Pisces, 14.5. 33 is a galaxy in Pisces, 15.5. 34 is a galaxy in Pisces, 14.5. Although it was in irregular, it might have been interesting. Why don't we do 7534 because it was an irregular galaxy. Well, let's see what we can make of this one. It's either one of these two galaxies. This one looks a little more disturbed than that one, so it could very well be the irregular galaxy NGC7534 in Pisces, magnitude 14.5, 1 by 0.7 arc minutes. As I mentioned, an irregular galaxy, 158 million light years distant, puts it at about 45,000 light years in diameter. RA 231426, with a declination of just 2 degrees below the celestial equator, 4157. And we're getting some mess ups here. Let's reinitialize. Okay, I'll do the Skippy Lewis thing again because that one got messed up. 35 is a galaxy in Pegasus, that's face on. 36, a galaxy in Pegasus. It's got a ring, 1.9 by 0.7. Why don't we have a look at that one? All right, NGC 7536. There's actually a couple of them here, but I'm sure this is the one. Magnitude 13.4, 1.9 by 0.7 arc minutes. For them to determine wraparound spiral arms, it must be a pretty good image. Spiral with an uppercase B, so 2 spiral arms wrapped around with a lowercase bc, and a ring, as I mentioned, 212 million light years distant, probably something around 120,000 light years in diameter. We're at 231413, declination plus 13, 25, 33, Skippy Looing along. 37 is a galaxy in Pisces. Oh, it's got a nice aspect ratio and +4. All right, so it's going to be an edge on. Wow, a couple of sweeties here. This is NGC 7537, probably the smaller one. Galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 13.2, 2.1 by 0.5. Spiral with a lowercase bc, 120 million light years distant. I'll have to look up to see what galaxy is nearby that's so large and bright. Without an active core, though, apparently it just kind of fades. It's 23, 14, 34 in right ascension, declination +4 degrees, 29 minutes, 53 seconds. Not quite in the sky's middle third, but a good look anyway. Okay, I'll continue skipping along. The nebula in Cepheus, too far north. Galaxy in Pegasus, 12.5, lenticular, but not a great aspect ratio. 7540 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 15.7, but we won't go there. 7541 is, it's got an interesting large, but they're magnitude 11.9. NGC 7541 is our next candidate for the image. I did notice some stellar elongation in the last image. I'm going to capture it for a few seconds again before we push on to NGC 7541. Okay, and if you guessed that NGC 7541 was just east and very close to NGC 7540, you would have taken home the ribbon. Okay, since the NGC chart catalog goes from west to east. So let's pick this baby out a little bit more. I'll give you the data on 70. This is also NGC 7581 Galaxy in Pisces, 3.5 by 1.2, 3-to-1 aspect ratio, and it makes sense that it does not have a bright core because it's a Class C. 115 million light years distant puts it at about the size of Messier 31, maybe 140,000 light years in diameter. A little less, 23 hours, 14 minutes, 43 seconds with a declination of +4 degrees, 32 minutes and 1 second. We're now about 15 minutes into this video. I've got to start skipping along. 42 is a galaxy in Pegasus, faint. Another at 43 is a galaxy in Pegasus, not so faint. 44 is a galaxy in Pisces, faint. Nice edge on though. 46 is a galaxy in Pisces with a ring. Galaxy 747 is a galaxy in Pegasus. Moving on. 48 is a galaxy in Pegasus. 49 is another galaxy in Pegasus. Oh, it's got a nice aspect ratio, and it's got some weirdness to it. Let's go there. Now on to NGC 7549, galaxy in Pegasus. Let's push it up a little bit. There's actually several galaxies in the field. This is probably our galaxy, magnitude 13. Ooh, but it's supposed to be 2.8 by 0.7 arc minutes. That doesn't quite fit, but this one may, but it looks a little fainter than that. Let's push this over here, and I'll back out just to see if that's, yeah, it's pretty close to the center. It's probably it. Okay. NGC 7549, magnitude 13, 2.8 by 0.7 arc minute, 4:1 aspect. Spot with a bar, lowercase c with peculiarities. 211 million light years distant, probably about 125,000 light years in diameter. 231517 with a declination of 1902.27. This should be NGC 7562, although it doesn't look quite as bright as I expected. Galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 11.6, 2.2 by 1.7 arc minutes. It is an elliptical, 161 million light years distant, 23 hours, 15 minutes, 57 seconds with a declination of +6 degrees, 41 minutes, and 14 seconds. I'm going to push it just a little bit more and then bail. Okay, what we have here is NGC 7567, and guess what it is? It's a galaxy. Looks pretty edgy on and faint to me without much of a core. Magnitude 14.4, 0.9 by 0.2 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase cd. So this one is probably around magnitude 13.9, should that prove to have been blue-violet photographic magnitude. 191 million light years distant means it's probably somewhere around 60,000 light years in diameter. RA 231610 with a declination of +15 degrees, 51 minutes, and 1 second. Think about it, baby. Okay, this should be a fairly faint galaxy. NGC 7572 in Pegasus, magnitude 15. Nice aspect ratio, 4:1, 0.8 by 0.2 arc minutes. Spot with a lowercase a. Probably the most distant galaxy this evening. I'm going to reinitialize the stack. We're getting distension stars. There we go. We dressed that up a little bit. It's at right ascension, 23 hours, 16 minutes, 50 seconds. Declination +18, 28:57. Given its distance and size, it's probably about 175,000 light years in diameter. We're again getting some distension. So I'm not sure what's causing that. I'm going to allow it to repopulate the screen. I'll tell you what we're coming up on next. 73 is a galaxy in Aquarius. 74 is another galaxy in Pegasus, but we've already passed over it. So 75 is a galaxy in Pisces. 76, a galaxy in Aquarius. Nothing particular to be going after. Here's a galaxy in Pisces. It's very, very faint. 0.3 by 0.2 arc minutes, 75, 77. Let me get a little zoom in view on this before we bail. NGC 7577. It's a faint galaxy, very faint actually. It's just called a spiral. Galaxy in Pisces, magnitude 16.5. Designated a spiral, so we'll assume it's somewhere around magnitude 15.5. Since we've been getting pretty good go-to tonight, and this looks kind of like a galaxy, has to be confirmed based on visual reports that Steve Gottlieb puts out. What a treasure trove Steve's AdventuresInDeepSpace.com is. It's at right ascension 231717 with a declination of +7 degrees, 22 minutes, and 2 seconds. Skipping along while we allow this one to develop a little bit. 78A is a 13.3 magnitude galaxy in Pegasus. Weird, so should be another one up there somewhere. 78B is a 14th magnitude galaxy in Pegasus. 79 is a 14th magnitude galaxy in Pegasus. 80 is a 13.7, but small with peculiarities. Let's skip over that. 81 was also 41, and we've already imaged 41. It's a fairly large, bright galaxy. 83 is a galaxy in Pisces. It's also 7605. No, it's just listed as a spiral and fairly small. 84 is a galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 14.3, small, but 577 million light years distance. Let's have a look at the light that's been traveling for over 500 million years to get to our eyes. Okay, here we're looking for that really fainty that's well over 500 million light years distant. NGC7500-7599, galaxy in Pegasus, magnitude 14.3. Wow, it's pretty bright. 0.4 by 0.4 arc minutes. Should be pretty intense at that average surface brightness. A lenticular spiral, 577 million light years distant. This is a really brilliant galaxy given its distance and its size. It's probably something around 50 to 60,000 light years in diameter. RA 231753 with a declination of plus 9 degrees, 25 minutes, 58 seconds. Looks like we're getting some distension. I'm going to reinitialize. Okay, I'm reinitializing and stepping through, unless there's something really fetching. And there's a galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 11.4. I guess we're going to call this our last view in the 7500 to 7599 series, ending up with NGC 7585, galaxy in Aquarius. All right, our last view in the 7500 to 7599 is NGC 7585, galaxy in Aquarius, magnitude 11.4, 3.1 by 2.7 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, 153 million light years distant, means this is probably the size of Messier 31, about 150,000 light years in diameter. We are at right ascension 231801 with a declination of 043903. What I want to go out on is something I hadn't seen before, reaching for something now to get NGC designation, which is what I call the Superman galaxy. And if I can only read this thing, I got to grab a red light to be able to do so. We're going to go to 7479 as our Carpe Noctem view for this evening. Okay, here we're getting a 10-second view through a 150 millimeter 6-inch refractor using a ZWO system at 10 seconds. We're roughly at about something like, I believe it's around 36 inches in aperture. I'd have to consult my notes. I keep messing this up. Let me make sure I tell you, because, yeah, it's 10-second exposure is roughly 36 inches in the aperture. Now notice, I did look this up on Steve Gottlieb's site last night, and he had a 48-inch scope on it, and it pretty much matches this description here. We've got this S-shaped curve with this is the west. The western spiral arm almost reaches over to this point right here. There's a bright luminous region here of star formation. We can see the eastern spiral arm broadening. He says that he was able to see that it split. Now we'll go ahead and see if we can make that out. I don't really get a sense at 10-second exposure, he was using a 48-inch scope, that this northern spiral wrapping around to the south from the core is actually divided in any way. Although we are getting, he did mention these brightening regions in the spiral arm. He mentioned the star. So this is pretty close to what he saw. Now, in terms of seeing, I noticed I was able just to see the Milky Way and Cygnus overhead. So this is not particularly good seeing. Steve observed from Northern California. I'm wondering if he's a member of the Santa Cruz Astronomy Club at the time, because he has some reporters using a 13.1-inch scope. And I remember that being a binocular 13.1, if you can believe it. So you got an eye for each of those 13 inches, or 13 inches for each eye. So I'm going to pause this for a second and then allow it to stabilize again. Now you'll notice that eastern spiral arm doesn't come out until we get a couple of passes here. So that's one of the virtues of using stacking software, ASI Live, is because it can filter out the background light, brightening the actual study itself, especially if you do a good job of setting up the histogram, which I haven't done. So if you'll recall, if you did watch this video from last night, I believe it's the 7400 to 7500 series. Yes, indeed. I call this the Superman galaxy. And we do know he came from a star. Well, maybe that's something different, far, far away. Perhaps a galaxy far, far away. And in this case, NGC7400-7599, Galaxy Pegasus, 10.9, 4 by 3.1 arc minute, spiral with a bar, 2 spiral arms, BC, so the core it's a little more developed than I'd expect in a BC. 109 million light years distant, puts it at about 120,000 light years in diameter. At RA 230456, declination plus 12 degrees, 19 minutes, 20 seconds. And with that, I will bow out saying Carpe Noctem.
As when old time music is deep inside of you.